thing is as well, if he's potentially suing them, you're not going to give him a piece of information which then that they can potentially use against you. So it feels like he's trying to follow the Tyson Fury model, where Tyson Fury, he got done, didn't he, for the boar meat.
He didn't really go through the ins and outs of what caused it still.
Welcome to another episode of Bloodlust Boxing. I'm Sav.
And I'm Baz.
And in today's episode, we'll digest what happened in that uncensored interview between Piers Morgan and Conor BENN. You may have seen a few videos on this already. I've taken a bit of time to think about it, had a look at those. Baz, he's just seen the video today, the interview. Let's get your first thoughts, Baz. What do you take out of the interview? What like anything stand out for you? Because we've seen a lot of information around this, or lack of information, but what anything stand out for you? Has it made it better or worse?
I'll be honest with you, it ain't really cleared up much for me. I mean, we've talked about this in the past and gone through like the egg scenario and things like that. I mean,
yeah, we're talking about that since December, weren't we?
yeah. I mean, I told Conor, I said to him, look, just stick to the egg story, bruv. You'll be fine. But he didn't stick to the script. You know, Piers Morgan broke him down.
The WBC teed it up for him, just like, here you go. Yeah. Here's a story for you. You can use it, you know, and here's a way out.
It would have been done and dusted. But nah. On a serious note, I don't think it's cleared too much up for me, factually. He didn't really go through the ins and outs of what caused it still. He's still umming and ahhing about that, except the only thing he's clarified really is that he's not going with anything the WBC have said and that he's innocent of all charges.
Yeah, so he's ruled out eggs. He's almost kind of like he was suggesting there was an issue at a lab, so from contamination. And he said something about the test being, like the sample being tested 3 or 4 times. But was that potentially tested 3 or 4 times because they're testing for different things? We don't know. Maybe in one test they're testing for one drug, another test testing for another one, or is it just a case of they found something and that's why they wanted to test 3 or 4 times and
wanted to make sure.
And then when he was saying that again, it wasn't clear was that the first failed test, you know, back in months and months ago, or was that the second failed test that was tested 3 or 4 times and they found something? So that's a big question mark.
That's been glossed over quite a bit, hasn't it? Really, I mean, the fact that 2 separate occasions and it's still been present. I mean, how'd you get around that? How'd you get around that? If the egg scenario is not on the cards, then
why has it happened twice?
Why?
And why? The question has to be, why just Conor BENN? They hinted and said there was, at the same time, there was tests going on. I think there was 2 cyclists or something. Was that right from the same interview? Where?
Apparently some cyclists tested positive for it as well.
For clomiphene at the same time. So is he saying maybe part of their sample got caught in the machine when they were testing it?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't. I don't think they said that it was from exactly the same lab at the same time, and they didn't really clarify that. I don't believe, but
they, so
I don't know why they. Yeah, I'm exhausted, so I'm exhausted because
I think after last time we did a video, we said we don't want to talk about this anymore, and then this comes out, and you kind of have to talk about it because it adds to like the mystery. It's like one of those murder mysteries, and you're like trying to think who done it.
It was the interview, Dr. Jekyll in the observatory with the spanner.
Yeah, it was such a poor interview in that the way a lot's been cut out of it, hasn't it? It looks like they've chopped it up and they've pulled a lot out of it, but for legal reasons, I'm guessing. So it didn't flow well at all. There's bits missing, so that didn't help. Conor BENN is on the warpath with everyone by the looks of it, because he's not taken what the WBC have said, which the WBC, we already know they're a bit of a shambles anyway from the fact that they were giving out a belt to the winner of the Jake Paul fight. Just
Had
a
to get
lot.
that in there, didn't you?
Just a lot of what they do is just wrong. So questionable. He sounded like he's gunning for VADA as well, and the testing labs.
Yeah.
The possibility of potentially suing them as well, which is a bit mad.
Suing everyone.
And the thing is as well, if let's say for example there is something wrong at the labs, that then brings it to disrepute every single sample done in those labs and under VADA. So every single boxer or sports person who's been found to have taken something illegally, it leaves it open for them potentially to try and go after VADA for testing. So
and then if it was done by accident, like if it wasn't done by accident, then why was it done? I mean, who would target Conor BENN? Like, what?
Yeah, I think he said it wasn't done deliberately, but again, it sounded like he was trying to suggest there was an issue in the lab. But what about the British Boxing Board of Control? So a lot of people have been saying, okay, you got the dossier, 270 pages. Why don't you release it to British Boxing Board of Control? And he's saying he doesn't want to do it because screw him. What are your thoughts on that?
He's peed off with them. He's going to sue them anyway because of due to losses.
Yeah. It looks like.
I mean, they dealt. Yeah, it looks that way. They dealt with the whole situation terribly, didn't they? I mean, the way they dealt with the fight being cancelled.
Because they had
losing their earnings.
They had the information from weeks and weeks before the actual fight, and then they pulled it 2 or 3 days before the fight. So that's already a bit of a joke in itself. The fact that they took them so long to pull the fight, and then the information as well was leaked as well. Ages ago, we were saying, well, how did this get out? It must have been a leak. So it's been leaked from somewhere, and I think Eddie Hearn's hinted in certain interviews that it was the British Boxing Board of Control which have leaked it. So or leaked the decision to pull the fight. So you've got the British Boxing Board of Control who aren't running the best way and don't handle things. I mean, even when you look at the Josh Taylor, Jack Catchall fight, it took a lot of pressure for them to do something about the actual judging in that fight, didn't it?
Yeah, and I still don't even think they've done a proper job of that, to be honest. I know that's an entirely separate issue, but like you said, it's another red flag about how they've dealt with something. So
you can sort of understand like why Conor BENN might not want to go down that route. And the thing is as well, if he's potentially suing them, you're not going to give him a piece of information which then that they can potentially use against you. So if you're going to try and sue the British Boxing Board of Control, you're not going to say, here you go, here's 270 pages which you can potentially dissect and use against me later on. So I can understand why he wouldn't go down that route. Yeah, but then he might be thinking, look at Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, I still don't know if he's got a British Boxing Board of Control license.
I think he has.
I think he's got a US license.
He applies for a kind of like a pass, from my understanding.
But if it feels like he's trying to follow the Tyson Fury model, where Tyson Fury he got done, didn't he, for the boar meat, and disappeared, came back, and then he went to fight and was fighting in the US, wasn't he? Yeah. It feels like he wants to try and replicate that same sort of model. Maybe go to the US, fight there. Everyone forgets, or the hype around it dies down, and once they see him fighting, and then eventually he can come back to the UK and then maybe go through, try and get his
once the dust
back.
Settles a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm just at a loss for words. Like, I just want this done and dusted with, bruv. Like, I just want to see the fighters fight.
It needs to be some sort of resolution, doesn't it? So whether he's guilty or not guilty, he's got a potential way out because of the WBC. So, I mean, for me, I think anyway going forward, he's going to be tested like 100 times more than any other fighter because of the fact that this case is so high profile and everything that's gone on. So that's what you would want to happen. At the end of the day, you want two fighters to go into a ring, it to be on level ground and for it to be safe. So going forward, you would expect that would be happening. Anyone getting in the ring with him should hopefully feel confident in the fact that he's going to be tested like so much more than any other fighter. And if he had done something wrong, then surely he wouldn't be stupid enough to try and do it again and risk getting caught again, considering how vehemently he's denied, the allegations.
Anything he would have had would be out of his system by now anyway.
So in that sense, then you kind of just want it to go ahead. But there is the argument, well...
Is he not going to get punished?
Is he not going to get punished if he has done something wrong, considering that there's a lot of fighters that go into fights and his next fight could potentially be Pacquiao, where he's going to get a whole load of money for fighting.
Yeah.
So he's almost being rewarded, although he's probably spent about £1 million or so in legal fees. So
he probably lost a lot on the Chris Eubank Jr. fight as well.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Whether guilty or not, I hope his mental health is okay. And that kind of stress is not good on anyone.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we want a resolution to this. We've had enough of it. And we just want the truth to come out, don't we, Sav? We're just, we're just seekers of the truth.
I don't think we're ever going to get the truth. It's one of those things where it's just like you're never going to know what happened. So maybe one day, 50 years from now, something may come. But I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon.
It's like that never-ending story, isn't it? Just keeps going on and on. It never ends.
Well, it does eventually end. Can't go on forever.
I didn't make it to the end of the film, really. I must have fallen asleep.
Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Sav.
I'm Baz. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Cheers. Have a good one.
Peace.
Bye.